I wanted to point out that when Rangers weren't in the divisions, Celtic didn't win any trebles. Now they're red hot favourites after yesterday to win their 6th treble in 9 seasons.
Yeah,
I mean that
the trophy count is astonishing. Going back
won
to
two of the last 41 completed competitions. As I say, Celtic going for the 6th treble in 9 years. I mean that is a really sorry indictment for the Rangers hierarchy. That's crazy.
And by the way, the Rangers fans that were very proud of the fact that they had more trophies than Celtic, they've just sat there watching, going, Celtic's just going like that, and Rangers has been staying stagnant for the best part now of certainly 1 decade, possibly 2. So I've said previously on here that this is a club which is going nowhere. It's got no sense of direction. It's not being led properly from the top. I wondered if Patrick Stewart might be the guy to come in and get people into line and lead from the front and get the various investors and board members to follow in behind. I'm seeing no sign of that at this moment in time where it's hit a new rock bottom. He's not anywhere to be seen, the chief executive. So I've said before that this board, I wonder if Patrick Stewart's gone in and looked about and been surprised by how dysfunctional it really is. It needs recalibrated. It needs new, fresh eyes, new ideas, new money. It needs all of that because the people that are in charge of making the decisions for that club right now have proved themselves to be incapable of making the right ones or enough of them.
And we're getting plenty of comments. Both you guys alluded to the fact that the Rangers fans' ire will soon, if it hasn't already, switch from Philip Clement to the Rangers board. I mean, Dennis Mirren here saying, so sack Clement, bring in Pepper Mourinho, nothing changes. The same board, same players. It's not the managers, it's them above the manager. People can't or won't see that. Alan Culling.
But that doesn't mean that you stick. But that doesn't mean that if you've got a guy that's not right for the job, that you should stick with him.
Aye.
I mean that's just basic. And I'm sure that Dennis and other Rangers fans would feel a whole lot better about life if at least the team was winning games on a Saturday afternoon and not you're kind of routinely embarrassing them as they did at the weekend there. I'm sure that would make everybody's life feel a lot easier over at Ibrox. It's not the case. So even though the board is dysfunctional and in need of a complete recalibration, it doesn't change the fact that there's a guy in charge of the football team whose only purpose in life is to get results, and he's fallen short too.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got comments. Mick, I think you hit the nail on the head here. Like Tommy here saying, what if the next Europa game and next Celtic games are both lost? Is he still in a job then? You said it earlier, Mick. Who knows? Yeah. Like, who knows what the parameters are now?
Well, listen, in the next before the split, the away games at Tynecastle this weekend. Then a fortnight it's Killie away, Celtic away, Dundee away, and Aberdeen away. Who knows by that point with Aberdeen? So they've got 5 away games. And listen, we know how the away games have gone. But do these games not matter now? That's what I'm saying. We don't know. We've got the usual rules don't seem to apply anymore. So we just don't know. So they came through this little period against your St Johnstone's and Ross Counties and looked like the Harlem Globetrotters. But now they're going to have to go and dig out results in these places, which are going to be notoriously tough for good Rangers teams. So, but all bets are off at the moment. We just don't know. I mean, I don't know what it takes. I mean, guy, they lost to Queen's Park at Ibrox yesterday. No.
If you can survive that, you can survive anything, man. Nice. It's as simple as that.
Queen's Park had to get extra time to beat Montrose in the last round, and they've lost at home to Queen's Park. I mean, but if it's, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're way beyond
an injury-ravaged Queen's Park.
Yeah, at Queen's Park they hadn't won at home since October, since October.
Yeah, I mean, there is certain results that are so seismic that they almost take your breath away. I mean, I look back to last season, the Darvel, Darvel Aberdeen was one of those results. I know that Jim Goodwin lasted a week or so, but there's certain results that are even in isolation would be sackable offences.
Yeah.
Never mind when you're 13 points behind the league.
I genuinely think, Keith, we said this. I think we said it on air, but we definitely said it privately. But let's see what happened. We said at Christmas when Rangers beat Celtic 3-0, it was almost the worst thing that could happen for Rangers because it puts Clement in he's safe again for a while.
Yeah,
I think
but that's what I'm saying. He's Harry Houdini, isn't he?
Aye.
He gets into these situations, you think, well, that's the end of that chapter.
Yeah,
and then he magics something up a result from nowhere. It falls out the sky, and all of a sudden people say, oh, maybe stick. There's green shoots of recovery here. There's no green shoots of recovery. It's just a mess. The only green shoots you can see are the long grass that they're kicking this managerial can into. It has to happen. It's just, where are the people? We felt for a long while earlier this season, the only reason that he wasn't being sacked was because there was nobody there to sack him. But Rangers have since then subsequently put in a chief executive and a chairman. And their silence is deafening right now. I find it remarkable.
Well, what I was going to say there, Mick, was just that, what if he's allowed to go on for another few weeks and Rangers turn up at Celtic Park on March the 16th? That muddies the water even more. I mean, surely they need to just go, look, this guy is not the future.
But there's a pattern now. I think, as I said, that was the first time this season of going 5 wins, domestic wins in a row. You need to go 15 domestic wins in a row in Scotland. You can't go 5 and then fall flat in your face. And this is now repeating 3 or 4 times through this. They win 3 or 4 domestic games, have a good result in Europe, fall flat in their face somewhere. Starts again, and it starts to the kind of optimism rises again, and he thinks that he's world beater again, flat in his face. So we're now seeing a pattern. And listen, I know the big rebuild is what it's described as, right? And they say, well, there's going to be bumps in the road, and there's a rebuild. There's bumps in the road, and there's losing at home in the cup to Queen's Park. That's falling down a manhole. That's not a bump in the road.
That's exactly. He's accident prone. He's genuinely accident prone.
Yeah,
it's like the comedy injury. You're right. It's falling down manholes. It's wheels coming flying off the car. It's all these comedy moments. He's just completely accident prone as a manager.
It's the terms of the big rebuild. You can forgive dropping points somewhere against Aberdeen or against St Mirren, or an occasional i.e. a little bump in the road, but not this. Look at is it 11 games out of 30 domestically this year they failed to win. That's not. It's all right saying it's a development time and it's a rebuild and it's a transitional season. Rangers have still got a huge budget and top. The team they put out on Sunday wasn't a scratch, wasn't a reserve team on Sunday. There's multi-million pound signings in that team. They should have more than enough to deal with that cup tie. You look at the previous day, I don't want to draw a comparison with Celtic. They're operating different levels financially at the moment. Celtic had 9 changes and go and clatter Wraith Rovers at the park the night before. Rangers should still be able to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Even during a rebuild. So these are just excuses now.
Yeah, and Mick, you've also got to remember, see, there's clubs all across Scotland's top flight that effectively have to do a rebuild every summer. Because they lose so many players, because of the way that they can, they have to beg, borrow and steal to get budgets together. And so there's managers up and down the land that face similar sort of transitional summers most years. And they still keep them. They still need to be competitive out there. And you're absolutely right. The finances that are involved in this, Mick, means that have a transitional season. What does that mean? That means you might struggle in your big games against Celtic. But see the rest of them. You're right, Mick. There should be no excuse.
No.
And if you win the rest of your games, then you'll stay competitive in the league anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, when do they see these transitional seasons? When do you ever see someone who's successful go, well, that season's a stinker, but I get through that and now we're here? So it's one of these great big excuses that are thrown out. It's a season of transition and all that stuff. When have you ever seen a football team say, we've finished the transition, we're now fully built? When has a football team ever fully built? It's a complete and utter fallacy. The teams are constantly evolving all the time. You still need to buy good players, get them in the team and get them playing, get them winning games.
That's right, just win games. That's what you need to do.
Iggerman is talked about as being a great development player. And by the way, I think he is a cracking player. I think he will go on and be a top player eventually if he's handled properly. Still costs £1.5 million, which is the budget of half the league, by the way, for a year. Motherwell, St Mirren, St Johnstone, Ross County, they're lucky to get £1 million budget a year. Never mind the one developmental player. So they can spare us that nonsense as well. It's an excuse.